People who have been caught having sex by their parents, what was that like? My boyfriend and I took a long time to actually have real sex, so we had third base stuff. Well, we did it at his house for a while, and I didn't have pants, and he didn't have a shirt. We always cuddle afterwards, so of course we were taking a nap, and his mom walked in. She didn't see that he was shirtless at first because we had a blanket over the both of us. Well, I tried to discreetly pull the blanket higher on his chest, and then she noticed his bare shoulder. She stopped, screamed, "Andrew!" his dad's name, and stomped out. We then had to have a conversation, one of many, with his dad about it, and that was uncomfortable. His family is Christian, and we've been together for 3 years now. We are both 20 now. So his dad has, at this point, stopped trying to get us to stop, but we definitely can't do it at his house. Thankfully, I live on my own now, and can have him over whenever I want. My mom waited until the next morning, made me a wonderful omelet, and then when I was 3 bites in with a mouthful chomping away, she said, "If you get a girl pregnant, we will not help you raise the baby." I damn near died. Not caught, but one time in high school, my girlfriend and I were at her house having sex, and she was very loud about it because we were the only ones there. So we thought. After we were done, we walk out to the living room, and her dad was sitting on the couch and gave me a death stare I will never forget. He didn't say a word to either one of us, and she told me he didn't talk to her for a week. One time, my ex's mom walked in on us. We all screamed. My ex and I ducked behind the bed, and she just goes, "Not in my house, please." The worst part was that since we were in high school and I didn't drive yet, she had to give me a ride home. On the ride back, she wanted to make sure we were using protection, and I made the mistake of admitting we were doing anal, because I was on my period. She laughed and took it well, and still loves me to this day. God bless her. I don't know how I would respond to a 15-year-old telling me they were doing anal. My mother had trouble starting her Vespa, so she came into my room to ask me to start it for her, which was uncomfortable because I was quite literally balls deep in my GF at that time. I hadn't locked the room because I thought my mother had left with her scooter. She just calmly asked how long it was going to take us and if I could pause and help her because she was late for work. It was more funny than awkward, to be honest, but we always had a pretty open way of talking about that stuff. Childhood, can you pause your online game? Adulthood, can you pause the fucking... Got caught banging my best friend's stepsister in her car in the driveway when I was 17. It was my grandmother that caught us. We were parked under a bright-ass HPS light that was on the front of my granddad's shop, with the door open, like the stupid, horny teens we were. I'm going to town, and I hear a smack on the windshield. My grandma is standing there with a furious look on her face and screams at the top of her lungs, "Just what the hell are you doing?" I look up with what I can only guess is a horrified and confused look on my face, with my neon white ass exposed, and say, "What the hell does it look like I'm doing?" I pull out and sprint to the house, jump in my bed and pull the covers over my head. Needless to say, there was a very awkward breakfast the next morning. A few months later, I'm on my way out the door to take the same girl to prom, and she hands me a few 20s wrapped around a strip of condoms. She looks me in the eyes, smiles a big toothy grin, and says, "Now don't spend it all in one place, son." My grandma is a fucking legend, especially considering she's a Southern Baptist from Texas. That was one of the most hilarious things she ever said to me. I snuck into my girlfriend's room and stayed the night one time because I had nowhere else to go. Usually her mom leaves for work before everyone gets up for school, but this particular morning her mom came in to ask her something before leaving. Yeah, I woke up to her mother screaming get out of her bed and ripping the blankets off, and of course I was butt naked. Her mom started acting like she was worried her teenage daughter would get pregnant all the time. And I kinda just avoided her mother for a while because I couldn't look her in the eye. So yeah, anyways, that's the story of how my mother-in-law saw my dick when I was 15. Got caught a few times, usually just uncomfortable and awkward, but one time was memorable. Getting a blowjob in high school. The moment of truth approaches rapidly. Literally, as I start to come, my mother slams open my bedroom door. That was an experience. Happened twice. First time was my brother when I was like 17. Wanted me to move my car, so he walked into my room. Blanket was over us, but I was on top of her when she walked in. He just said sorry and closed the door. He profusely apologized later that day when I saw him again. Second time was my mom. She wanted to know if girlfriend was staying for dinner. Just walked in, flailed her arms around for a second, and ran off faster than I've ever seen her run before, leaving the door open. We just got up, got dressed, and that was it. Mom never brought it up again. My mom didn't say anything while we were doing it, but after I dropped off my girlfriend and returned home, she said, "You need to respect the people who are living in this house." I immediately knew what she was talking about. Edit. No, my mom didn't catch us in the act. We were probably just being too loud. My sister caught me getting a BJ once. She didn't knock before entering my room. She saw what was happening, closed the door, and left. Never talked about it ever again. It was her mom, so I was in her room eating her out under the blanket, and her mom comes in. My girlfriend at the time hits me to let me know to come back up. The mom blushes and says, "Hey, I just came in to see what you guys want for dinner." Not thinking my dumbass said, "I'm good, I just ate." The mom left and my girlfriend hit me. Then I realized what I had just said. Not my parents, but her parents. I didn't know what to do or say when her mother walked in, so I yelled out loud, "We were wrestling." Very awkward. My high school girlfriend was on top, and I wanted to be on top, so I pushed her backwards. When she fell back, she hit her head on the corner of my nightstand and immediately started bleeding. When she saw the blood, she started screaming and crying. My mother and her friends came rushing in to save her. She wrapped up with the blanket, so I'm just standing there at full mast with Susan eyeballing me. My mother and I were always open about this sort of stuff, so she knew we were having sex and it wasn't a big deal. She did tease me for a couple of weeks afterwards, pretending like I was abusive. They were his parents. He told me that they would be gone for a few hours, so I was loud. His mom opened the door and I was on top of him. No way I could possibly explain myself. She sighed and walked out. That was the last time I had sex with said guy. Wasn't really caught, but I had my girlfriend over and we were watching a movie under the covers. Everyone was home, so we kept it quiet, and under the big comforter we were cuddling, pre-banging, so we kept that position. Mom walks in and asks my girlfriend and I if we wanted food from whatever place, as I'm still inside my girlfriend laying perfectly still. Was definitely a holy shit moment. My sister was caught by her high school boyfriend's mom while she was giving head. And I shit you not, the dude literally came on her face right as the door opened. And apparently it scarred her so much she hasn't given a blowjob since. My ex-GFS dad walked in on us while I was hitting it from the back doggy style. We were completely naked, middle of the night. And he barged in because he had to tell my GEF something. He saw us, didn't say anything, immediately shut the door, and walked out. I did not go back to her house for weeks after that happened because I could not look him in the eyes. I knew he liked me, but I thought he was going to kill me for having sex with his daughter. Most uncomfortable situation I think I've ever experienced. A friend of mine tried calling me, did not pick up because I was hugging my girlfriend like dogs do. He had the brilliant idea to call my mom, who went straight into my room. At this point, I was very close, as was my girlfriend. So I was unable to stop as the door opens, Mom walks in, hands me the phone while GF and I have post-hugging clarity. I took the phone, she went out. Told my buddy I'd call him back. I had eye contact with my mom while finishing in my GF. We never talked about this, but she sure as hell knocked every time she wanted to enter my room after that incident. Quiet funny. My mom was obviously embarrassed and my dad said, "Wash your hands before dinner, son." My GF couldn't stop laughing for the rest of the sex. Finally, a story I can comment on. In my senior year of high school, me and an ex were playing the horizontal hokey pokey. And while she was on top facing the door, naked as the day she was born and in full view, my father walked. He took one look at the situation, announced that dinner was ready, and slyly gave me an attaboy wink before leaving the room. To this day, he has never mentioned it and pretends he has no clue what I'm taking about when it gets brought up. Dead Kodoe. I think I was 16 when my dad walked in on me and my girlfriend at that time. We started while no one was at home. After, 25 minutes, my father and my little brother came home from a day at the lake. Well, my girlfriend was under the bedsheet giving me head, and then my father knocked at the door, and I was like, fuck, what am I doing now? I decided for the probably worst option and just said yes. And my father walked in to hand me a letter. While my girlfriend underneath the bedsheet squeezed my dick so hard I thought he's gonna be blue later. Thankfully he wasn't. Well, anyway, my girlfriend went home 3 trains later because she was ashamed to move out of my room. The face of my dad and brother as I walked out of my room with my GF. My father knew what happened, but my little brother thought him a wizard.
Hey, fantastic audience! Today I'm bidding you farewell, but it's not the end of our connection. Hop on over to the channel, drop a comment sharing your thoughts, and ensure you're subscribed. Because trust me, you won't want to miss out on the exciting things coming up.